Hey guys, today we're working on this 96 Chevy S-10 extended cab 4x4 V6 Vortec. Today we have what I understand is a radiator coolant leak here, and I think it's because of busted radiator. I'll show you guys in just a second where the expected problem is. But this video will give you a little idea how to possibly take off your radiator. These S10s are fairly universal, so the first thing you have to do is take off your fan cover. It's going to sit right in like that. Right in front right there, you're going to take off 1, 2, 3, 10 millimeter screws. Okay, so this is going to sit right on top of your fan there. It's going to go right here. 1, 2, 3, 3. It's gonna sit right on top here over your radiator, covering your fan here. Then you will have 2 more 10 millimeter screws to take off, which is gonna be right here. 1, 2, and then 1, 2 there. Both gonna be, or all 4 of those gonna be 10 millimeter. Then your radiator should come right out. You know, you gotta take off your hose. Right here, your disconnect there. And then you have a bottom one right over there. Next thing you do is this clamp, you need to take that off. And I wanna see if I can get in there. Okay, we need to take this off here. And there's my fan cover at the bottom there. Okay, so I'm not gonna take it out just yet unless I absolutely need to. Which, you know, it should come out when the radiator comes out, or maybe I'll just leave it in there, I'm not sure. So that's the first step you got to do there, your cover, and then you start disconnecting some things. I'll give you guys a small update once I'm moving around here. And actually, I'm going to see if I can get you guys give you a view of where we're leaking at here. If you look closely, right there. So that's definitely from the radiator. I mean, there's no other possible leaks that could be going on here in the front here. You know, I was hoping to be maybe one of these connections here may have been you know, needing a little tighten or something like that, or you know, possibly even our hoses here needing tightened. But you know, I don't think that's going to be the case in this situation. I really just think it's going to be a leak down there, possible maybe damage, or you know, just over wear and tear and time. And that's about as good as I'm gonna get as getting. I might be able to sneak underneath if I can. I'll show you guys, but I'll give you guys an update once I start getting these hoses off and things like that. Hey guys, so one little side note here: if your vehicle's overheating, or it seems like it's having a little trouble maintaining an appropriate temperature, what I just found out is I already cleaned it out, but it gets a bunch of debris, dirt and leaves right in between your radiator, and I'm not sure, is that your condenser or something like that, or your transmission? I'm not sure what that other one would be, but anyways, the point of this is right in here, okay, is where a bunch of leaves, and I keep this vehicle fairly clean, so I'm not, you know, sure, but you know, to make sure that you're maintaining your vehicle appropriately, you know, that's one little secret I just found out, that when you take off that plastic fan cover, it gives you access to this little notch right in here, and there was a bunch of leaves right in here. I mean, there was probably, you know, close to half a foot of leaves in there and stuff like that. So be sure you're maintaining your vehicle appropriately by taking care of it, and this would be one of those ways to prevent damage in the future, overheating, fuel efficiency, you know, things of that nature. So One little side note there before we get this radiator out. Okay, so first thing I've done is went ahead and removed this little clip. You just pop this up and slide this over. Then you will disconnect this first hose. Next thing you want to do is remove this little clip here. To remove this hose, be sure you have something underneath to properly recycle the coolant. I do not believe you're supposed to just toss it on the ground. That's very bad for the environment, so be sure you have something underneath to catch all this. There is a drain. Let's see here. There's gonna be excuse me, I believe it's the passenger side. There's gonna be a drain screw, if you will. It's gonna be black. It's gonna be like a butterfly type of drain plug. So you go ahead and drain it that way first, and then I've already done that. So you drain that, and then you go ahead and proceed to take that off. Next in line on the driver's side go ahead and take this off. Has a little security tab here. I'm thinking about taking that off with maybe like 1 or 2 flatheads, just kind of popping it off. Maybe 1 flathead on this side, slip that security device off, and then 1 flathead on that side. Okay, so as mentioned, I'm going to use my wrench here to take this metal line off. Okay, so you do your best to get that one off, and then you can go ahead and beat it down the line. I'll let you guys know what I'm up to next after this one. Next in line is going to be our second metal oil cooler line, located right here. Go ahead and take that off with your wrench. Next in line is going to be our bottom coolant hose right down there. Okay guys, so progress so far. I've taken my top hose here, taken my oil cooler line there. That's about as far as I've gotten on the driver's side. Okay, so we got our, what is that, your backflow, I believe, your overfill line here, hose. You got your oil cooler there. You got your bottom hose right in here. Okay, maybe oil cooler, or your bottom hose right down there. Okay, and now do not forget that we have one other oil cooler line right there. Okay guys, so we finally managed to get our last oil cooler line here. The very bottom right down there. That was our last line. We had this one on the drivers. And we had that hose on the drivers. We had this one. Our big hose is at the bottom there. Oil cooler there, and then we had one way underneath here somewhere. This is in the way a little bit, but we had another oil cooler line down there. And that is just about it for the radiator. It should come out. So we're gonna go ahead and try it, see if it comes out. So there we are. We have the radiator out. So like I mentioned, we have one oil cooler here, our hose, oil cooler, your overfill tank here, or drain. You got oil, and you got your hose here. And the spot where we had our problem, as you can see, it's still drooping to the second. So our problem was somewhere in here. See it there? So let's see if we can find the problem back here somewhere. Okay, so I think we managed to find where the actual breakage or damage was at. If you look really closely, you will see where the water starts coming out when I tip it backwards. So it's going to be right here. Okay guys, so before we install our new radiator, which is right over here, brand new radiator, make sure when you go to the parts store, I like to bring my old one, make sure all the hoses and connections are in the same area and they are the same size. Everything has to be exactly the same for the radiator and part to work. Okay, so one thing I found out just now is I had mentioned there's these little safety tabs on there that you have to pry off with like a flathead, something like that. So this one's blue, a little more obvious to take off. So you took that off with a flathead, right? Make sure you do not lose those. You lose those and you're gonna have some troubles finding some new ones. I managed to save those clips and not lose them, you know, down underneath. So be sure that you save those clips, and if you lose them, you need to find them, because that's the only way that this this device right here is actually locked onto the metal tube. So just as a little side note, make sure you keep those safety clips. And now we're ready to install the radiator. So this is the bottom plastic that I had mentioned, the fan plastic. Make sure that's clipped on correctly. You know, I put that back in, make sure it's all ready to go. The radiator is going to slide right into these notches right here, right there, and right here. So I'll give you an update once it's in. So now that we got our new radiator, just about ready to put it in, you go ahead and take your oil cooler device here. You go ahead and put some what is it called, the tape there, to prevent, you know, any leaking and stuff like that. You go ahead and put it on as so. You go ahead and put your safety clip back in, and then you tighten. Okay, then you go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. And then the easiest part about this is you put the radiator in, and then all you need to do is just clip your lines in, because your notches or your screws in there are already into your threads, so that's going to be really nice, much easier than having to trying to tighten them while connected to your oil cooler lines. And this is the easiest method to do it. So I'll let you know once the radiator's in, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we have our radiator in, and now we're working towards connecting our hoses, oil line cooler, metal tubing. You know, we got a couple more down there. You got a hose down there, and you got a hose here. Yeah, you got your oil line here. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is going to be the funner, more easier part of this job, because it could be a heck of a lot more complicated. So I'll go ahead and show you on this top part here. So this is your oil cooler line. You go ahead and there, and you just pop it right in. Okay, it's a little difficult to do with one hand, but see if I could show you on this other side here. There we are. Okay, so we're in there. And that's what you need to do for all the other 4 oil cooler lines. Transmission coolers are the other ones, I believe. And then you pop your hoses on here. Here's your hose there. Alright guys, so we got all of our hoses connected here. Hose right here. Right here. Underneath there we got this oil cooler line right here. On top of that we have this oil cooler line right here, tightened. This drain. So you got your other hose right here. You have, where's the other one at? Right under there. Got your oil cooler line there. and then you have another oil coolant way down there. Okay, so this is the progress as of right now. You got your radiator in. You got your bottom piece of your fan cover here. You know, after you get all that stuff done, all you need to do really is fill this with your coolant. Put your fan cover over top. Make sure you don't have any leaks present. Coolant leaks, oil leaks. And from there, your job is about done. I'll go ahead and fill her up with coolant, put my cover on, and I'll update you, see how it all went. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope this video has helped a little bit. We'll be back with you shortly. Okay guys, so our job is done here. We went ahead and put our fan cover on. Everything's looking good. Filled up our coolant. This reservoir, put on our cap. Don't open this one ever, really, especially not when the vehicle's hot. You can open your engine when you add your coolant here, your reservoir, but don't ever open this one because you will burn yourself. Seems like we're doing good there. We're full there, we're looking good. I like to check that reservoir because when radiator's leaking or we're running low, this is empty. No, I've never really liked to open this unless it's cold. The motor's cold, so you know, this is the way I like to check and see if we have the appropriate amount of coolant in. If this is empty or low, then we got a problem. We got a leak somewhere. So you know, our fan's on, it's a good thing. And you know, got this all in here. You got to check here, make sure there's no leaking. Check your oil, where your oil coolant's at as well. Check your bottom one. You know, you can check everything you installed and took off. Make sure you check there. Check your bottom there. Okay, and finally, you know, the foolproof thing. You look down underneath, make sure you don't got any water down here, any coolant. Really, there should be no liquid down here. Otherwise, you might have a little bit of water, but that would be from the AC system. I decided not to turn on my AC for the obvious reason that I'm checking for any leaks right now. So as you can see, we're looking good. I already took it for a test drive. You know, you might have a little bit of a leak for a little while because actually, since we're down here, I had this little reservoir right here fill up with water and it was leaking. It was leaking down here. And I was like, well, shoot, I just did this whole job and we're not looking too good. We got a leak again. And it was all right. I went ahead and dried this off with some water. This reservoir up here, or this piece of metal, was actually filled with water from when it was leaking, as you can see right in there. So, you know, you may have a little bit of which would seem to be like a leak, but you know, you just gotta look around, make sure we're not leaking here, anywhere around here. You know, if it's a new radiator, it's highly unlikely it's going to be leaking, but you know, it's always a possibility. You know, if you do have a little small leak like I did at the beginning, it was not from the radiator, it was from the coolant that had been leaking from the old radiator. So make sure you look around. I actually dried a bunch of things underneath the pickup from the older radiator. So, you know, our final test as well up here to make sure we're working good, we're looking good, is your temperature gauge up here. Make sure it stays in the normal realm where it's supposed to be at. You know, this is where mine runs right here. So other than that, you know, like I said, I like to take my vehicles for a good test drive, warm them up real nice and make sure their temperature is regulated. But you know, yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, comments, whatever you may have or you think of, let me know. I will get back to you in the comment section as soon as I can. I will try to help out as best as I can. But in the meantime, I do appreciate when you subscribe to my channel. It helps me out. keep on making these videos. I do appreciate the likes. Like my videos. And if you want to see anything else or any help on this similar vehicle or anything else I've worked on, let me know. Thanks a lot.